Okay. Hi, Ada. My name is Tiffany. I want to thank you for coming to this session to meet with me today. I'm going to start off introducing who I am. Like I said, my name is Tiffany. I am a future social worker. I'm trying to become a future social worker. And the purpose of this session is to get to know you and get to know some things about your culture and your beliefs, just so when I do graduate and go out into the field, I have a little bit of knowledge of people from your culture.
Okay.
Great. I'm going to go into confidentiality. I want to let you know that this video, everything said in this video is between me and you. As long as you're not talking about harming yourself or anyone else, then I think we should be okay.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me before we get started?
No, not right now.
Okay, great. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and let me know a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Ilsa Capel Calderon de Mancha.
Okay.
And I was born and raised in the Republic of Panama.
Okay.
And in one of the in Panama we have 9 provinces, and one of the provinces that I born is one of the biggest in our country.
Okay.
And the name is Chiriquí, and the birthplace is David.
Okay.
And when I was 21 years old, I got married with a Chicano.
A Chicano? Okay.
Yeah, and from that marriage, I had 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy.
Okay.
And then after 4 years of marriage, we moved to the United States.
Okay.
And the first place that I remember when I came to the United States was Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then from there we moved to Houston, Texas, and then we went to Laredo, Texas, and then after that, then we went to Virginia. Then after that, we went to Washington D.C.
So it sounds like
in Alexandria, Virginia. And from there, then after he finished with his courses, then we moved to Fort Stewart, Georgia. And then after that, then we moved to Houston, Texas again, because he has families and relatives in Texas.
Okay. So from what it sounds like, you're saying you were born in Panama?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that right? Correct me
Yeah.
if I'm saying it right. Saying it wrong. If I say anything wrong, please do correct me, because I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So you were born there, and you came to the United States when you were 21 years old, and you came with your husband, or did you
Yeah.
meet your husband there? Okay.
Came with my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have 3 children.
And 6 grandchildren.
Yeah, and 6 grandchildren. You have sounds like you have a nice big family.
Yes.
Great.
And then after that, I moved to Omaha.
Okay.
Because my daughter moved here because she wanted to marry her husband, that is actually her husband now.
Okay.
And then after that, I moved to Connecticut for a few years. I think it was like 6 years.
Okay.
And then I came back to Omaha, where is my family, because I really value my family, my children.
So you value
Yeah.
your family and your children, so you figured being closer to them would be more comforting for you, correct?
Right, and because my daughter was getting married, the youngest one.
Okay.
And then after that, she said that she's going to start a family right away. So I decided to stay here instead of move back.
Okay. So it sounds like since you've left Panama, you've kind of traveled all over the place. Is English your first language?
English is my second language.
Okay.
And growing up, my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was from Spain. He was tall guy, blue eyes, and white. And then from my dad's side, the family, he was French, and his mom was Poland. So they are immigrants.
Okay.
And then my grandma's dad was Italian.
Okay.
So I have a lot of different cultures.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like you have a lot of different cultures.
Right.
So what is your first language?
My first language is Spanish.
Spanish.
Yeah, but growing up, they say, my uncles, they say that my grandpa was teaching us French.
French? Okay.
But he died when I was 5.
Okay.
And then a little bit from my grandma.
Okay.
A little bit Italian, not that much, because she didn't really was speaking that fluent. It's a little bit. But my grandpa, yes, he was fluent in French.
So, do you know multiple languages, or is it just Spanish and English?
I know a little bit of French,
Okay.
but I'm more of Italian.
More of Italian? Okay.
Yeah, in Spanish. So.
Okay. So when you came over to the United States when you were 21, was it hard for you to adjust to the English language, or did you know did you have a little bit of enough knowledge of English when you were in Panama?
Yes, I did. Went to school like in the summertime.
In Panama?
In
or
Panama,
Okay.
I take a little bit of every summer for 2 summers. I was able to learn English, and then that was when I was in high school.
Okay.
Because in high school I took Latin instead of the English or whatever other language. And then after that, when I came to United States, I wanted to go back to school because I had 3 years of international relationship.
Okay.
So I decided that probably it would be a good idea for me to go back to school and learn more about the English language, because I really enjoy the English language.
Okay. Well, it sounds like when you came over here, you had some goals set to learn English very well. So I'm glad that you were able to. It sounds like you're pretty comfortable with the English language now. So
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I have another question for you. For your culture, is there any like traditions that you guys do in your family?
Well, we have many traditions like in any other cultures,
Okay.
but right now
Tell me about those.
at this moment, I think one of the traditions is my Spanish language.
Okay.
They try to teach my kids and my grandkids to
Okay.
learn how to write and how to read and how to speak well the Spanish.
How is that going for them?
Oh,
Or
they're
how's it
doing-
going for you? Teaching them that, is that pretty challenging for you, or?
Oh, well, not at the beginning when they were little. There was not a lot of challenge because my two older kids, they speak English, Spanish, and write and read. But the youngest one, who's right now is 27, she understands everything you say in Spanish. But when she was little, she didn't want to learn the Spanish language, and now she will die for her to try to speak and write and read and all that. But she can understand everything that I say in Spanish, but it's kind of a little hard for her because she didn't want to, and she knows that she did make a mistake.
So if I'm hearing you right, one of the traditions that you feel is important to you is to make sure your younger grandchildren know Spanish.
Right.
So that's good. Do you have any other traditions that you value most?
My religion,
Okay. What is that?
Catholic, Roman Catholic.
Okay.
And I try to make sure that they be baptized and do the confirmation and get married for church and like that, get the tradition going
Okay.
with my grandkids.
Okay. So your religion and making sure they know the Catholic religion and Spanish is one of the main two things that you really, really value, right?
Yeah, and also food. Food is really, my kids, they love my food, and actually the youngest child, when I try to cook, she always wanted to be there to learn how to cook in Spanish.
I don't want to make any assumptions, but do you call your food Spanish food, or is it like Mexican food? How do you?
Well, when I cook Spanish food, I say we're cooking Spanish food. And when I say I'm cooking, say Italian food, I say, well, let's go Italian, like spaghetti. That was something in my culture that I got from my family, right? And then I love the dessert is one of my main things, because I think probably I got that from my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
That we eat first the dessert before we start eating.
So in your culture, you eat dessert before you eat the main course.
Right.
Oh, right. That is different. I like that. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah. I always like it. Oh no, my mom. Oh yeah, she's gonna eat her dessert first before we get this, because that's what I used to that.
I'm glad you shared that with me. I would have never assumed that. In my culture, I was raised to eat your dinner first, then you get your dessert. But I think that it's really, I would have never assumed that. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, and one of the very, very, very main plate that my dad used to cook was the paella.
What is that?
Paella is a Spanish plate that has rice and it has seafood there and chicken, and I just cook it in a big pot, and that was one of the other main plates at home.
Oh, okay.
Growing up.
Can you pronounce that one more time for me? Paella?
Paella.
Paella. It sounds pretty good. I like seafood, so hopefully one day I'll get to try something like that.
Okay.
But as a future social worker, can you name some things I should probably be aware of when working with people from cultures such as yours? Can you think of anything?
I think probably you need to be aware of your cultural heritage.
Okay.
That way.
When you say cultural heritage, can you elaborate more for me?
Like, what are your beliefs?
Okay.
What are your history?
Mm-hmm.
So and your values.
Mm-hmm.
And when you know your values, your all those elements, then you can be able to work with any Spanish population, because if you are aware of yours, then you can be aware of my culture.
Mm-hmm. So
like I said, basically my history, my values, my belief.
So basically what you're saying is, as long as I'm aware of mine, I should be able to respect yours, right?
Right, yeah.
What else do you think I could probably learn from your culture?
Okay, probably you should have the knowledge how to interact with this population of my Spanish culture, and like I was saying before, our history, because sometimes when you work with other people of different cultures, you need to be aware and have the knowledge how to work with that population in the sense of being respectful. And like in any other culture, different cultures, there's different things. Like we value a lot the eye contact, because if we value the eye contact, when you talk, then that means respect in my culture.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, because I know in some other cultures, staring at people, it's kind of uncomfortable. So I was going to ask you, what other things are like important, like far as like eye contact, body language? But I'm glad you mentioned eye contact, because I was wondering, I'm trying to focus on you. I'm wondering if that's disrespectful or anything like that. But thank you for telling me that eye contact is very, very important. I was raised to, when you show eye contact, it's showing them that you respect them. So I'm glad that you informed me that working in your culture, that is something you value, because that's something I was raised on, and I don't want to go into a session making that eye contact and it may be uncomfortable. So I appreciate you telling me that.
And another thing is that when you're working with the Spanish culture, you all need to be aware that the man is the one who have the power.
Okay.
So whatever the men say, it goes.
Oh, okay.
So, you have a family.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I have a family, So the
men.
So I talk more to the men than the woman, or?
Well, actually, you can talk to them together,
okay.
but when the couple or the family or the man has to make the decision will be made by the male.
Okay. So, say like in a counseling session, I'm able to talk to both of you, but he'll have the last say so, right?
Correct.
Okay. I never knew that. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. As a Spanish woman, that's how you label yourself, right? As a Spanish woman, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Spanish, yeah.
Since you've came over here, have you experienced any discriminations or anything like that? And if you have, how do you deal with that?
Well, yes. Coming to this country at the beginning, and sometimes I feel that too, but we're more at the beginning because, when you come to different country, you really do not know, a lot of, the pronunciation and the English and all that.
Sure.
And at the beginning was kind of hard for me to incorporate myself to the workforce here, because I'm kind of person that I like to work to provide for my family, for my children, and I have to find a job to support them and support me too. And by doing that at the beginning, I had some few discrimination in my workplace, that probably I didn't like it. At the beginning, I was a dental assistant, and that's one of the main things that made me be more stronger and to be the person I am today. Because one of the things was that it is something that happened, I will address it.
Yeah.
But not get angry or anything. I need to be calm and speak for myself. I have a voice. So if it's something that I didn't like it, then you will know, but not in an anger way. It's almost like a little kind of joke or something like that. But yeah, I had to address those things.
So basically what you're saying is, when you first came over, did you have an experience working as a dental assistant that you were discriminated against, and you felt the need that you needed to stand up for yourself?
Correct, yeah. Because in my country, we have different cultures in my country, like African American or from Africa. They have Jewish, they have Italian, they have a lot of Chinese, and they have also Hindus.
Now, are you saying is this from where you're from?
We are from Panama. We are really diverse in my country.
Okay.
Really diverse in my country, and we're not racist.
Right.
We don't have no discrimination because you black and white or yellow or any kind of color of skin. We are all together. But when I came over here, I was thinking that hey, we all
it might be the same. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I experienced more discrimination here because of my Spanish culture.
So, if I'm hearing you right, your way of coping with it is just standing up to those who have discriminated against you and explain to them in a serious manner that this is what it is, right? How did you feel once you addressed those issues? Did you feel a little bit better? I'm sure that probably was uncomfortable for you because you come from a culture or where everyone seems to get along, and then you came here and you realized that everybody is not the same. So
Yeah, but I have the opportunity, and I had the I can say lucky person, because I have doctors that I used to work with them that they always back me up.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because they see that it was not fair what's
Yes.
going on, so I'm kind of feel a little privileged
Good.
in that side, because they're always in my side.
That's
I remember
good.
one time that my doctor said, okay, you go ahead and tell her that she need to continue doing her own thing, that you will not be doing her job.
Right.
So and he said, if she says something to you, you tell her that then she had to leave.
So it sounds like the company you were working for, you had a very supportive supervisor who really was interested in your best interest. So that's great. I'm glad that you were able to experience that, because sometimes that just doesn't happen, So I guess it's great that you are considered lucky that you had that supervisor that was very supportive of you, and I'm glad to hear that.
Supervisors and owners, and so yeah, they know that I'm a very hard worker person, and whatever I do, even if I had to go clean the bathroom or vacuum, I would do it with love. I would try to do it the right thing and not be lazy. So they
So
know
you-
that I work very hard, and I do whatever it takes
Yeah.
for me to be happy where I work. Doesn't matter what kind of work.
So it sounds like you value your work. All you want to do is just be respected at your job place. So that's me being a working person. I definitely can understand that. When you go to work, you want to be able to go to work and do your job right and have peace. And if there's a problem, be able to address it in a nice, calm manner. So I can definitely relate to you on that level. Are there any other incidents that have ever happened to you where you may have felt discriminated and it didn't go as well? And what did you do?
Now I remember one time when I was in Houston. I was in college there, and I was the president of the student association, and they have two instructors there and some few students, maybe 2 or 3. They were kind of, I think probably those students, they was kind of jealous because they choose me. And my English, sometimes that doesn't come out very well, but I know what it takes,
Right.
And then I noticed a little bit of jealousy, and probably kind of discrimination, because they didn't want me to be the president of the association, and I see a little bit, but I have a lot of support there.
Right.
So I didn't pay too much attention to that. I just let it be.
Right.
But I saw that. Yeah.
So you have witnessed the feelings of it, but your way of coping with it is just going with the flow, right?
Right. Yeah. And don't pay attention to those negative things. That's
Yeah.
a bad energy. So I
Yeah.
always try to project a very good positive energy.
Well, that's good. I agree with you on that. No sense of feeding into negative energy. Positive energy seems to always be the best energy to display. As a future social worker, what things do you think I can do besides show the level of respect? I know you said that's one effective way to work in the population of your culture. Can you think of any other things I can do to be an effective worker when working in the population such as yours?
I think it will be self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Yeah, of your own cultures. Yeah. Like. Yep.
So being self-aware of, being self-aware of my biases and my values and kind of keeping them to myself is what you
Yeah,
say.
because you need to have self-awareness of your personal in a professional way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and meeting with me. I have so much more questions for you. I'm going to kind of wrap up everything we talked about. So you are from Panama, and you moved here when you were 21 years old, and it sounds like you've been to numerous of different states. And one of the traditions that you really, really value is teaching your children Spanish and your religion, which is Catholic, and some things that I should be aware of when working in your population is self-awareness and self-respect, kind of keeping my biases to myself and knowing who I am versus not assuming who you are and assuming what I feel you are, I guess. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, we talked about so many things. I want to make sure I have it all. And another thing that you said, one thing I did find interesting is that you eat dessert before you eat dinner. I think that is so cool. I'm gonna go home and try that. Hopefully it doesn't upset my stomach. But and you said you have 3 children, right?
Right, yeah.
And 6 grandkids, right?
Right.
So I think I have it all. I want to thank you so much for coming to meet with me and talk with me about your culture. I think your culture is awesome.
Thank you.
I think about how hard it probably could have been for you just moving from Panama to here. How long has it been since you've been back home?
Almost 30 years old. Almost 30 years ago.
Wow. Do you think about going back to visit? Or?
Yeah, I went last summer. I'm thinking about going this year. I was thinking about going in December before, the first week of the next year, but I'm working on that right now.
Oh, that's good. Well, I hope you're able to go, and I'm so interested. I wish I can go. I do. I wish I can go. Like I would love it just to eat this, just to be able to eat dessert with people who eat dessert before dinner with people that's I think that is so cool. I swear I'm going to try that. Like I've never tried it, but I really hope you have safe travels there and you enjoy yourself when you go back home. And thanks for coming to meet with me again.
Oh, you're welcome, Tiffany, right?
Tiffany, that's right.
Okay.
All right. You have a good day.
You too. Thanks.